Welcome to APCUG's Wednesday workshop, where we get together in the middle of the week to learn more about technology. Most of us, including this person speaking right now, spend too much time on our devices, whether it's a computer, a laptop, a tablet, or a phone. And we're doing things to ourselves that probably are going to be hurting, all the way from the old tennis elbow to when touch screens first came out and they started labeling that gorilla arm syndrome. Today, we are fortunate to have a high medically trained person who's going to be sharing with us about this new phenomenon called butt syndrome and help all of us learn to be better computer users. So, Judy, I'm turning things over to you.
I'm sorry, I've trained in mental health. Maybe I can give a presentation on that. That will help us. I was just flipping through. We really don't flip through stuff online. And all of a sudden, this article popped out at me and it said butt syndrome. And I went, you have got to be kidding. And I have to put a presentation together about that. So I did. In fact, I put two of them together. I didn't like the first one I put together. So I'm working on a 24-hour day here. But I did change chairs because I really couldn't keep sitting in that same chair again. All righty. Here we go. Butt, neck, eyes, oh my, surviving screen time. And here we have our dead butt syndrome. It really doesn't die. It just feels like it. We need to worry about prolonged computer and smartphone use that can lead to problems with our neck, our back, shoulders, RSIs, eye strain. And are we going to have any body? Maybe our feet are going to be okay. But now we add our butt, and it's just that little part right there. Poor posture, incorrect workspace setup, repetitive movements. And like I said, along comes dead butt syndrome. All of the things that are wrong with this, there's lots of overlaps. So if you listen, they'll talk about a chair, and then somewhere else I'll talk about you need a chair. So you don't have to, change everything. You just should change a few things. And especially if you have all of your, I'm going to call it furniture, forever and a day, maybe it's time for new stuff. So I love this. The term was lovingly coined by tech workers who said, coding 12 hours straight turns your butt into a numb, flattened cushion of regret. It's not a medical diagnosis yet, but everything that has come along since the last, 5 or 6 years that we started complaining about is a medical condition. So I imagine this one will be out there sometime. And think about your Zoom marathon meetings you have had, or your team meetings, or one after another, and you don't hardly have time to even get up and walk any place or get yourself some water or anything. And so I love this. If your glutes are ghosting you, don't panic. Just stand up, stretch, and maybe give your butt a pep talk. It's time to wake your cheeks. So what causes it? Duh, prolonged sitting. Using your tech stuff for hours on end. I did an 11-hour stint about a week or so ago. And, the unpaid APCUG stuff, a lot of us do. And boy, when I got up, and I hadn't read this article yet, but I fit it to a T. It was amazing. Lack of movement. You're just hanging out and sitting on the couch, and then you're over at your computer station. and you're forgetting to stand, and you can't even remember what walking was like. So, numbness or soreness in your butt, pain in your hips, lower back or knees, stiffness after sitting, poor posture and balance issues, sciatica-like symptoms. Yeah, dull forever, shooting pain down the lane. A lot of us have that. And I hit the knees. I was getting out of my chair and I thought, oh my gosh, my knees hurt me. And they both did. And it wasn't only my butt, it was my knees. And I thought, I sure hope this goes away soon. So, how do you recover? When you are sitting and you know you're going to be sitting at your computer, or you're working on your laptop or your iPad, and you're talking on your phone, you're playing games on your phone, but you're just sitting and not moving. Well, remember, stand up and move every 20 to 30 minutes. Go look out the window. You're also stretching your eyes when you do that. And I love these crab walks. I can see you all with one of those wide resistant bands around your thighs or your ankles, and we'll all count together. Take one step to the right, bring your left foot in. Take one step to the right, bring your left foot in. And I can see us all as old geezers doing that. Focus on squeezing your glutes during your exercises. It makes those exercises go a lot further. And if I did this bottom one clamshells, I get down on the floor and somebody would have to haul me up. But bend your knees, open your top knee like a clamshell, and back and forth, open and close. And then you got your donkey kicks. Or you just go out and buy a desk that moves up and moves down. My son had horrible back problems. And so before there were standing desks out and about being sold, he created his own standing desk. Too bad he didn't get a patent on it. But would stand up part of the time when he was using the computer. He'd lower it and he'd sit down. And that worked for him. It enabled him to keep on, after a full day's work at the city, keep on going. So dead butt syndrome might sound like a punchline, but it can mess with your posture, your gait, and cause pain in your hips, knees, and lower back. So treat your glutes like royalty. They are the king. They're the unsung heroes of any movement that you do. So tighten them up when you're walking. And here's evolution for us. We were bent over, we slowly stood up straight, and now we're bent over our computers. And I love the new cartoon on the bottom I found, that's what's going to happen to everybody's necks one of these days. So, computers and smartphones. Because of the time we spend at our computers and using our smartphones, we need to understand our body parts and what we're doing to them and how we can stop, being bad to them. Give them a break every once in a while. So don't let your chair win. Take back the price of posture. And like I said, I changed out my chairs today, and I'm feeling much better in this new one. And here is the chair, and everything is wrong with this. Yes, you can get foggy brain. You can strain your neck. It's a given for sore shoulders and backs, heart disease, overproductive pancreas, colon cancer, disc damage. Disc damage is a big thing. Weak abs, tight hips, soft glutes. This is what people can get sitting all day. Now, we might have had to do this when we worked, but we certainly don't need to do it now that we're retired and that we're at home. Do we really need to be sitting at our computers all day long? Sometimes we do, but give yourself a break and have sometimes that you don't have to. So your chair should support your back. How long ago did you buy your chair? Did you even buy your chair? Oh no, I had one at home and I could just use that one. Well, it's probably 16,000 years old and partially broken. Or no, I just pull up a dining room chair. Worst thing in the world you can do. So if you have not had a chair in 10 plus years or even less, treat yourself to a new one. You say, oh, they're so expensive. Well, our kids think we have everything, never know what to give us. If I don't ever get another gift card in my life, I'm going to be a happy camper. So, hey, kids, you want to know what to get me for Father's Day, Mother's Day, Easter, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, holiday? I'd like a new chair. That way you're going to get a more expensive chair and a really good one. I'm sitting in the most expensive chair I've ever bought in my whole life. And I'm loving it. The problem is I need to adjust it. It's all black. I have no instructions. My grandson took them with him. And I can't feel anything sticking out that I can, put my armrest down and things like that. So I'm going to have to haul him back over here. Your feet should be resting firmly on the floor. That's exactly where mine are. Long legs. So my chair is up high, but I also have long arms. So I'm in the right position here. You might have to put your foot on a couple of books or something to make it so you firmly, and I love it. Women would come into my tech classes, and I taught for 22 years through adult ed, introduction to Windows and computers. The first thing they would sit down and cross their legs. And I'd say, looks really nice, but that is the worst thing that you can do when you're on the computer. I said, your body is totally out of alignment. Ugh, really? I always sit like this. Well, can you try, at least when you're around me, sit properly, and I will let them raise their chair, lower their chair, raise their arms, lower their arms. I let them customize their workspace. And the nicer ones would say, what's the next person going to do? I said, they're going to customize it for themselves. And when we talked about monitors and we're starting to work with our computers, I showed them how to put them up, put them down, lean them back, lean them forward. I said, this is your space. When you are here, set it up so it works for you. Because we had 3-hour classes. So chairs too high, use a footrest. And we would get, very short people, and the chairs wouldn't go down far enough for them. So I'd haul out 8.5 by 11 boxes of paper and put the lid down, or even just put a couple of reams of paper, and that worked for them. Ideally, this is how we're supposed to be. See where I thought, who in the world has used a document thing like that for years? I just put my documents down left of the keyboard. But theoretically, this is it right here. Do any of us actually look like this? I do in some areas, and some areas I don't. But I've been, giving these presentations, so they kind of stick with me. So our bodies are not made to sit still for long periods of time, and yet we do. And again, get your body up, move around, get yourself a drink of water, pet the dog, yell at the cat, whatever, at least every hour. Roll your shoulders. You can take a break, and you right now, you're just listening. You could roll your shoulders. That is going to help your back. Rotate your head. One shoulder, the other shoulder. Rotate it around in a circle. So you guys can do this when you're at a Zoom meeting, because when a presentation is being given, nobody can see you. Now, who's going to feel best? The guy or the gal? And they tell you it's the gal. She's the correct. That keyboard tray, those have never worked for me. When I put a desk together, I leave those off. My keyboard and mouse is always on my tabletop. Again, because of my height, but I'm actually 2 inches shorter. Repetitive eye strain. The blink, you forgot. And I thought, I don't want to call this computer vision because the technology, I encourage the APCUG groups to get technology in their name somehow. If they didn't want to change their real name, they could put a tagline together with technology. So I said, I'm just going to say, what is technology vision? Last week for me, it was computer vision and digital eye strain. Well, just before I came to the meeting, I thought, just for grins, I'm going to look it up. And yes, computer vision is now technology vision syndrome. So I thought, way cool. So it's a group of eye and vision problems that are a result of prolonged use of a computer or smartphone. Symptoms are blurred vision, dry or irritated eyes. We forget to blink. Sometimes we don't blink, period. Headaches, neck and shoulder pain, and you need to be aware of the 20-20-20 rule, and your life will be so much better. Okay. What are the symptoms? Eye strain, headaches, blurry vision. There's the dry eyes because you're not blinking, neck and shoulder pain, and your spine misalignment. I have a miserable back, and a lot of it is because of all the time I spend at my computer. I probably didn't have the best chair in the world at my last job where I worked for 9 years, and back then you really weren't asking for new stuff. I had all my desktop stuff, crystal, but I didn't say, hey, you guys, I need a new chair. And oh, by the way, I need, something else. So poor lighting. I'm from the legal department, and I remember the light just didn't work for me. So I called maintenance and I said, hi, Judy, 4th floor. And they're probably going, oh my God. And I said, I need somebody to take out one of the light tubes. What? And I said, yeah, that light is shiny on my monitor. And it was like, how do you know which one it is? And they came upstairs with their ladder and they took it out, and it was perfect. I no longer had light shining on my monitor. You have to be careful about how close or far you are sitting in front of your computer screen and your poor sitting posture. Hey, that takes you back to the chair. You might need a new one, because what causes TVS can be every single one of those things. So 20-20-20, you've heard this before, probably a gazillion times, but please look away from the screen every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for about 20 seconds, and blink often to keep your eyes moist. And you can do that right now. You can look out a window, you can look at a nice picture on the wire, you can look at the rug, for heaven's sakes. But we need to get used to doing this. And are we going to remember to do it, every hour? Set a schedule. I mean, most everybody has a smartwatch with an alarm, or you can use some other kind of alarm and say, I'm going to do this every hour, 20-20-20. So, bing, and you think, okay, hands off keyboard and sitting up. And when I had my office in, the second largest bedroom in the back of the house, I looked forever out her window, which was perfect. And if I neglected to do this often, I could feel my eyes being drawn to the outdoors, and my eyes were saying, thank you, Judy. We really appreciate that you've taken the time to do this, and my eyes would feel so much better afterwards. You might want to use eye drops. I can't squirt things in my eyes, so that wouldn't be for me, but if it's something that works for you to keep your eyes moist, that's the problem. We don't blink. We just look at our monitor and type away. Look at our phone and, the fingers out and everything, and we forget to blink. We don't realize how important it is. If you wear glasses, is it time for a new prescription? Who knows? And I love this. This has been in my presentation since the beginning. Most TVS symptoms are only temporary and will go away after we stop using the computer or smartphone. That's my bullet point. Unlikely to happen below. So this is the staring contest and you lost. Monitor. It has to be centered in front of you. Honest to Pete, my tax guy, he has his monitor slunchwise, diagonal, on the right side of his desk. And you sit, because he wants you to sit across from him. I'm just appalled every time I go to him because I see you just can't do that. And he must have the worst neck problems known to man because you're talking to him and his keyboard's right in front of him. He's typing away, but he's looking over his left shoulder, so to speak, at the monitor. Good grief. Your eyes should be level from about 1 to 2 inches from the top of your screen. And remember to blink. And healthy eyes should blink 15 times per minute, and we do a third as often. So if you put your eyes about 1 or at least 2 inches from the top of your screen, you should be able to just move your eyes and look around at the entire screen without having to move your head or your neck and hurting them. That's the goal. Do you wear bifocals? I've worn glasses since I was in elementary school. I got bifocals when my kids were in elementary school. And so you're wearing bifocals, you're close enough with your readers, your far vision's on top. And how many times do you have to push your glasses up, or you have to move your head around to make sure up and down that the right part of your eyeglasses are working, whether the distance or the bifocal? I cannot waste my time doing that. I have a ski nose, so I would be pushing them up all the time, which would drive me bananas. So I went to an optometrist on, the main drag lines. We were all finished, and he said, "Have you ever thought of wearing computer glasses?" And I looked at him, and I started to laugh, and I said, "Oh, you just want more money." He said, "No, seriously, the amount of time," because I'm the president of the computer club, and he knew what I did at work and all that good kind of stuff. And he said, "Let's just do it with a really inexpensive frame, and you try them and let me, know how they work." So I said, "Why not?" That was the best purchase I have ever made regarding the computer. I had 2 pairs, one for work, one for home. God forbid I should be one place or the other without my computer glasses. And back in the day when I was working with him, he said, "Get in your chair, get comfortable, and have someone measure your nose to your monitor. And get up and walk around and come back and sit down again, and have them do it 2 or 3 times. You can average it out." And I thought, okay, that works for me. And I had him make them, and I used the same frames for all 3 pairs of glasses, my regular bifocals and my 2 computer glasses. And I just finally got new ones last year. And I love them. I could not do without them because I didn't want the nonsense of looking up or down. And people say, hey, Judy, you can get like trifocals. I repeat again, I don't want to waste my time up and down trying to find where that center line is. I would rather just take my glasses off and put the other ones on. I found I was driving down the freeway one day after a board meeting, and I thought, whoops, and no problem. My prescription for my readers wasn't that bad. So I could, drive the car the whole 9 yards if I forgot. But if you're having problems with your glasses in the middle line or whatever, try computer glasses and do have them measure you. Sometimes the optometrist just looks at your prescription and comes up with a focal length of their own. That has never worked for me. And I bought them at Costco, and I would just turn in one and get that filled, and then I turn in the other. I would just rotate them around. And of course, getting your glasses at Costco is very inexpensive. So over time, I've really not, paid that much for them. And I also had sunglasses. So, glare and reflection on your monitor, give it up and move it if you possibly can. You have blinds, curtains somewhere. Open them up, close them down, close them medium, see how that works. And look around, where's your light coming from? My son moved out to the new condo he and his fiance had bought for the last time. That kid was knocked down to the bottom of our steep hill, and his room had been turned into mom's office. I said, oh, I hope he doesn't come home soon. And the light glared on the monitor. So I thought, this isn't going to work. He had a fan and a light in it. And I thought, what's going to work is a pole light. Well, pole lights have been out for quite a while, but I finally found one. I put it behind the table, but that's what I did. I looked around, I sat down, and what did I need to do to make this right? And I did. You can increase the brightness and contrast. You can increase your font and pointer size, whatever you need to do to make yourself comfortable when you're sitting there typing away. Bill James loves the dark mode. I can't stand it. I don't like black. That's why I like Patch My PC, is it's colorful. But that's for him. Here's the old ugly stuff. But you can make your cursor, this is Windows 10 stuff, you can make your cursor larger so you can see people say, I can't find my cursor on the screen. These are the beginners. And so we make their cursor large. My mouse is a large black one. I can't miss this anyplace. And so I have been, customizing mine for years like that. But you can have it large white, medium size, small. Some people have their pointers so small, I can't find them. And I'm thinking they must have excellent eyes, for Pete's sake. But you need to think about, again, what works for you. If you're all of a sudden, I could see my pointer last month, but this month, for some reason, I'm thinking, well, and I'm moving my head around going, where is it? Hey, our eyes change. You can make all of this larger. The one at the bottom is 150%. No one would like that, but it makes a nice visual. You can make your text thicker. So as we get older, this makes it easier for some people to use their computers. And again, you're customizing it for you. This is 11, and have you use your nightlight. Doesn't appeal to me. A lot of other people really like it. Most of the ones that I've talked to set it up from dusk to dawn. And I don't think you can really see this, but it's on here. And it's a nice rosy little peach color. and it just doesn't do anything for me. And when I was giving presentations, people would say, you know, you look really weird. I look weird normally, so I didn't want the night light to make me look more strange. In Word, PowerPoint, you can view, zoom, fit to window, page width. I love this. One of my members, my club meeting, said, I got a tip for you. You probably already know it, but I had never seen anybody do this. I had no clue. And I wear glasses, you know, and I thought this is absolutely fantastic because, of course, when it prints out, it's just a regular 8.5 by 11 page with inch margins all the way around. And this is the difference. This is 12. This is 12. But this is changed with the zoom to 200%. I just wish that they would have that as a choice at the beginning. But once you select the zoom and 200%, it moves along with the document. So if you open it up 6 months later, it's still the larger size, and it just makes things easier. The mouse hand, the click that hurts. How sad. And that has a lot to do with the RSI, the repetitive strange injury. And it affects muscles, tendons, and nerves in our hands, our arms, our upper back, our shoulders. Oh my. What can you get? Carpal tunnel, the last thing in the world you want. Tendonitis, bursitis, mouse hand, tennis elbow, and tennis shoulder. If you hold your hand out, and you'll see there's a large V with your pointer and your thumb. That's mouse hand. And you just don't want that. Tennis elbow, that has to do with the mouse. I worked at Cigna Healthcare's West Coast office in Glendale. All of a sudden, my elbow was killing me. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, you better go to the doctors. And the guy said, you have tennis elbow. And I laughed hysterically. I said, you've got to be kidding. I am the least athletic person in the world. No, ma'am. It's from using your mouse. And my mouse was in an awkward position. And I thought, really? That's the first time I had ever heard that. Of course, you have to add that to your presentation immediately. And I walked down Grand Boulevard and stopped in a little tech store and bought myself a better mouse. And after a time, tennis elbow went away. But, you know, it really hurt. It was not fun at all. So you can have pain and soreness in your hand, various parts of your hand, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, your neck, your upper back. And it's not comfortable because back in the day when we went to work, if we were in an office, we had to keep working no matter what. And sometimes you're online to give a presentation or do something else. So, you know, and how much Tylenol, etc., do you want to take? So how can you fix this? Vertical mouse, puts your hand in a neutral position. I love trackball mice. Move the cursor by rolling a ball with the thumb or fingers. I used to do that all the time. That's when I asked the doctor about, you know, the V with the pointer and the thumb. And I love that. I've never heard of this central pointing device called a roller mouse. You put it to, okay, I have a Logitech keyboard, LOGI. I would position that right in front of that, behind it, on my desk. And there's a little ball in the middle, and it's a little bigger than a Spectrum clicker. So, and you move the cursor with a roller ball in the middle, and you can use it with your right hand, and then you can use it with your left hand. And of course, it reduces strain on your arm, your shoulders, and your neck. And it only costs $300. So that's something that I don't think I will be trying soon. And there it is, not quite in the middle. Now, John has a mouse, something like the one on the right. And there's your trackball, right hand, left hand. And here's what you're supposed to look like. When you are working with your mouse, there's your wrist, and your hand is not moving if you are using a trackball or the vertical mouse. It's just sitting there. So you're not going to get carpal tunnel. You're not going to keep moving around. You're not going to get anything wrong with your elbow. And here's my little mouse. Yeah, it's really I just lay that on there when I move my mouse around. But there's all different kinds. And of course, these are all from Amazon, and they're relatively inexpensive. And of course, if you buy one and you try it from Best Buy or Walmart or whatever, keep your packaging in your receipt and take it back if you hate it. But give a mouse, a different type of mouse, a try, just for rents. Click, type, ouch, why tech hurts. This is your keyboard. Do you like your feet up or do you like them flat? I will ask people that and they'll say, lady, what are you talking about? And I say, if you turn your keyboard over, there's two little feet and click them down, and now they're down, and now your keyboard is slanted. Are you more comfortable typing with a slanted keyboard or a flat keyboard? I can't type fast enough. I still type well over 125 words a minute. I cannot type that fast if my keyboard is flat. I like it slanted. Works better for me. A lot of people, I guess, have never, and that's one of the other things that I showed the students, check both ways. It's the way, it works for you better. And please, your keys should only need a light touch. When you buy a new PC, you get a keyboard and a mouse with it. I cannot think they are the most expensive in the whole free world. And some of them you feel like you actually have to push the keys down. You should not be doing that. That goes back in the box and somebody says, I need a keyboard and mouse. And you say, I've got one for you here. And find a keyboard that works for you. Back in the day, a lot of you have micro centers. We have Fry's in California. And I worked just down the street, which was wonderful. And so I would go down at lunchtime. I needed a new keyboard. And I started at one end of the displays and I phony typed my way all the way through all the keyboards to the end. I had a small crowd wondering what in the world I was doing. I don't mind things like that at all. I'm benefiting myself. I don't care if people think it's silly or whatever, because I'm doing research for me. And I found the Logitech 320. I have been using Logitech 320s for probably 25 years. Whenever they're on sale, I buy one or two. Right now, the paint or the ink is almost gone on the T, and it's working halfway through the D. I use this and it will be gone soon. And it comes with a wireless mouse. So I'm either using that or the one with the ball on the side. But the touch for me on this is perfect. I can't use Microsoft keyboards because the delete and the page up and the page down and home and are in different places. And my muscle memory is here with these, because this is one I've used. I go to somebody's house to fix something and they have a Microsoft keyboard and it drives me bananas. I have to slow down and deliberately look wherever I want to go. So if you are feeling that you have to push your keyboard down, you have kids, you have grandkids, and they still have computers, check their keyboards. It should be soft like playing a piano. Okay. So you need to have your elbows at your sides. That's my 17-inch laptop. I used a Toshiba 17-inch laptop, so they didn't make them anymore. That actually isn't my workstation. It's actually sitting on one of these glass tables right here. But there's my keyboard, there's my mouse pad, there's my mouse up there. And you'll notice my laptop is sitting on a printer stand because you need to have your eyes an inch, 2 inches from the top. Well, if you have your laptop down on the table, you have to have your neck bent over. Over time, your neck's going to hurt. Laptops are not meant for adults to be using this. They were put together for kids going to college, university, because they didn't have room in their dorms. So they came up when I bought my first 17-inch. I had to go down to San Fernando Valley to buy a case because we didn't have any in Santa Clarita. And it was when the board and the advisors all met up in Las Vegas for a meeting, special meeting. And I rolled in with my bag on wheels and this, and the guy goes, "There will be no using computers." I went, darn. I so wanted to try it out. But that was my main thing. I love that 17-inch monitor. And the sales guy was just appalled that this 1,000-year-old lady, I was 1,000 years old back then, was buying this thing with a 17-inch monitor. They were so heavy, it was pathetic. But my bag was on wheels. So think about that. If you are using a laptop as your main computer, you might want to think about putting it up on something. The air is circulating. It is not getting hot. And it's ergonomically correct with the screen. There's mine on the left. If you are having problems with your eyeballs, you are getting macular degeneration, wet or dry. One of my members, she's getting it and she's almost to the end. And that keyboard might help. And if it's not for you, think of some of your relatives or friends are squinting their eyes, and it's so difficult. I volunteered at a senior center, and I'd go once a week, update their computers, and got to talking to this guy, and he's going blind. He loved the computer. I got him one of those. I got him a huge mouse that was bright yellow. And he was customized his computer, made everything larger. He was able to use his computer for 2 more years. So if you know anybody who needs that, they have a keyboard. Amazon has stickers that can be put on the keyboard and make it look exactly like that. So wrist rest, but please, it's not really for you to rest your wrist on while you're typing. It's for when you want to take a break. You see on the right, her wrist isn't touching anything. And your wrists just float over the keyboard with your curved and your thumbs just hang down gently. And I can't see if you actually do this, but you guys really have a hard time participating when I ask you to do something. But if you would put your arms down by the side of your body and without hitting whatever have your computer or keyboard on, pull them up really fast and look, are they curved in towards each other or are they straight out with your arms? Most people's are curved. Well, that's the way your hands need to be on your keyboard. So you might even want to get one of those keyboards that's split in 2 or curved in 2. And I can't use those. They don't work for me. But that's just fun to do with people to see what's the best way for them to be using their keyboard. And here you are. You never, ever, ever, ever want to do this. This is carpal tunnel time. There's all this strain right here. You want it straight across, and here's your fingers going down. Thighs parallel, arms straight. You don't want your arms hanging down here. They need to be right there, straight across. So smartphones and tablets, can you think of anything that can't be found, bought, or watched online? I can't. So you, your grandkids, your kids are using your smartphones and tablets all the time when you're not on the computer. And many people have developed a crush on them. Your tablets, you get up in the morning, you start using it. And I read somewhere that you really shouldn't start using your smartphone until you've been up for a minimum, I think, 2 hours, because your brain's really not in gear yet after you've slept. A grain of salt with that. So each day people spend hours looking down at handheld devices, and there's overuse of technology, poor ergonomics. What's going to hurt? Our joints, our muscles, our nerves, our ligaments, and on and on and on. Just compounds the problems you have with your computers. And also, you can get grumpy and get ill health and sick. So you need to hold the position of the device at eye level. And you're going, yeah, sure, Judy. We're all going to be standing up there, our elbows waving in the air, hurting our wrists, and holding our thumbs in front of our faces. Well, nobody really does that. They tilt their head forward, just like the illustration. And that's where your spinal cord lives, is in your neck. And when you've got your head tilted like that, it says, hi there, I'm your brain. This is not a good idea. You really need to figure out somehow to hold it in front of you. Now, I don't imagine the kids are ever going to do this. I try. But adults, we can at least sit down somewhere in the kitchen, on a chair, on the couch, whatever, and then the phone would be more in front of our face. And if you can't do that, you're using your eyeballs, not your neck, to move around. You want to be able to, so you might want to turn it sideways, and then you'll just move your eyes around. Easy peasy. That's what you don't want to do, is on the left. That is really hurting your neck, your spine, your shoulders. You can't get a good breath. But again, the lady on the right looks kind of dorky. But do you put up with trying to find a neutral place to sit? Or you don't mind looking dorky? Or you don't care if your neck and back falls apart? Your choice. And again, there's how much weight you are putting on your neck. 60 degrees, you got 60 pounds of, it's like having a rock on, the back of between your shoulders that weighs 60 pounds, pushing your head forward. So there's folding cases, can be tablet stands. When my youngest daughter's mother's daughter bought her or gave her old iPad, the first thing I did was get her a case, and it was that she could stand it up. She's watching TV at night. She's got her iPad on like a TV tray, something like that. And it's easy for her to use. She didn't know that she could get a case. She didn't know anything about stuff like that. And I got one of their pointer tools too. But there's portable ergonomic keyboards. They've got earphones built in, hands-free sets, auxiliary cord, you name it. If a tablet is for you, like it is for her, then you're going to want to get a few little accessories to make it work better. Oh, I think I'll share. John, you're going to need to turn sharing on for me.
John's not here.
Oh, is he gone?
He's
Turn
gone.
sharing on.
You have host.
Have you turned sharing on for me?
I don't. Hold on.
You're good to go.
Thank you.
Oh, he's there.
Somebody popped up and
That was me. Sorry.
I know, I read who. Tucked under there. Come on.
Are you looking for the questions?
No, I'm not finished with my presentation.
Oh,
I'm trying to get rid of this so I can click on share. Okay, John, what is this? There we go. Oh, here I am. That was interesting. In all our careers, John, that's never happened. How cool.
I'll explain it later.
This is what I have on the back of my phone. It pops out and I just put it in the V between pointer and tall man, and I'm a happy camper. I'm feeling very secure when I'm using that, but you need something. One finger, all kinds out there. I'm sure you guys all have those. If you only use your thumbs, you're going to get RSI and a virtual or a keyboard, pain in thumbs and wrists. So one would hope that you would learn how to use your thumbs and your fingers to create messages and texts and things. Okay? Don't forget to use the microphone. Don't forget to use the microphone. I have fat fingers syndrome, so there's my friend right there. My kids get punctuation and all kinds of stuff when I send them a message. But if I were to try to use that with my pointers, I would be hitting both the J and the K. Not worth my time, so I talk. Keep your wrists as relaxed as possible. No bends, no twists. And use your thumb, use your pointer, use your thumbs. Alternate so you don't get any crummy thing. And have you all customized your phones? I would hope that every single person has large type. It's brighter so you can see what you're doing. And whatever it will do to help you use your phone more efficiently, and you won't get any crummy things like RSI or anything. So if you have not had an opportunity to set up your phone like that, perhaps we can have a Wednesday workshop on something like that. One for iPhone, one for Android, and we could bring our phones and work along with them. I did that with my iPhone with a group on the East Coast. Oh my gosh, I learned so much and said I didn't have to give a presentation and I didn't have to look at chat. All I had to do was play, and play I did. You can talk. These people will help you out. So you made it. But syndrome status, you survived. After 2+ hours sitting, absorbing, And of course, nodding politely or smiling every once in a while, even when you weren't sure why, you have officially conquered the September 10 Wednesday workshop. If your chair had feelings, it would be proud of you. If your brain had a Fitbit, it would be flexing. If you're craving a donut right now, I haven't had breakfast yet, you've earned it. How do you feel? Enlightened, exhausted, all valid. Thanks for sticking with us. We promise your backside and whatever it says under there and brain will thank you later. Thank you very much.